And so he makes these little artistic changes in order to make those points a little clearer to the reader. And that would have been totally allowable in that time for him to do it. Think of it this way, RB, it's like a portrait versus a photograph. So if I could see, it was done, you put the person's right hand on their hip as an air of authority, okay? And he's wearing his military uniform, and in the background, you can see a battle going on. Well, certainly George Washington was not posing for a portrait in the midst of combat, right?
Totally.
But the portrait, it communicates truths to us. It's still truth, but it communicates to us in a manner that's not photographic. There's photographic accuracy, there's portrait accuracy. And so if you see a portrait if you saw a portrait and you're trying to judge it as though it's a photograph and say, oh, well, this is wrong. That portrait person, the painter got it wrong. No, the painter didn't get it wrong. You're getting the genre wrong. And I think what we see in the Gospels at times is that Matthew is giving us a apology, all right? Let me just say one more thing about this and then move on. I like this kind of analogy or illustration too. Let's suppose that a photographer sees a couple holding hands and walking through a meadow on a beautiful sunny day and takes a photograph of it and wants to capture that romantic element right there. The photographer comes back and she downloads the photographs onto her computer and looks at it and say, you know what, boy, I can do something special with this. And so she edits it some, right? She makes the grass a little greener. She makes the sky a little bluer, and then she puts a little bit of a haze in the whole photograph, right? And you picture that and you could say, yeah, I really sense the romantic element of that moment. You can almost feel the butterflies that couple is experiencing in there. Those edits distort, you could say, the photographic accuracy, but it communicates truth a little clearer than the actual photograph does. Communicates actually of the truth, than a photograph does. So we can't fault the gospel authors when they do something like this, especially since it was allowable in writing ancient biography.
That's a very interesting. It alludes to a timelessness about how they were writing as well, that it would continue to convey a certain message 2,000 years later, as really has. I've never thought about it that way. That's a brilliant way to